Hey guys, Pat Keebler here for Would You Spend a Day with Tim Allen, WYSADWTA, back here again with another CD collection update for you guys. By my count, this is, I think, 22 or 23. Can't quite remember, but I'll probably remember it again later. Cue music. Alright, now before I get into this video, I have two things I want to bring you up. First one, you guys may have noticed, but I am in a new location, or a new apartment rather. That's because I recently moved into, finally moved into my new apartment about 5-6 days ago. Well, I've pretty much been moving all of my stuff, like, gradually over the course of, like, the entire month of August, and I just now recently have all of my stuff here and all organized the way I wanted, probably about a week or so ago. So, yeah, and hopefully a tour for this apartment is going to be coming soon. I didn't get a chance to do a apartment tour of my last place, but it wasn't really much of a looker, to be honest. It was good, but I wasn't really sure if it was much tour worthy. But either way. And second thing I want to bring up is Stefan Karl Stephenson's death. And for those of you who don't know him, he was Robbie Rotten on the show Lazy Town, which, if you're not my age or around the ages of maybe 18 to 25, 26, you probably didn't watch that show as a kid. But for people like me, he was pretty much like, again, he was the primary villain, but if you had seen him in, like, outside of the show, he was actually a really decent guy. And back in 2014 or 2015, I think the song We Are Number One, which is which is a song off of an episode of Lazy Town, it became like a huge meme for, I want to say months on end. And, because memes don't really have that much of a lifespan, but yeah, so it was a pretty big thing back in 2015, 2016-ish, and I want to say that year, probably maybe the next year after, Stefan, or whatever you want to call him, he actually kind of did a mock interview about what the song was, like the background of it, like what the process of writing the song was, and him and the three other guys who were part of, like, the Robbie Rotten lookalike thing, it was part of the episode. Like, I'm not going to go into full detail about it. They actually performed the actual song itself live. Well, not live, but they recorded it, they did a video, they explained the process, and at the end of the video, Stefan Karl just says, "Keep memeing," and just, it's kind of, I look at that video now, and it's kind of almost more or less heartbreaking to, see that such an influential man, or such a kind-hearted man can, have this kind of power, and just be such a good influence. Or, anyway, I'm rambling about nostalgia and stuff like that. Anyway, on to the CDs. So first CD that I have for you guys is Motion City Soundtrack, My Dinosaur Life. And cool thing about this CD and two other CDs, which by MCS, which are Commit This to Memory and I think maybe Even If It Kills Me, or might have been another album. All of those CDs were actually produced by Mark Hoppus, bass player of Blink-182. And what really sucks about this case in particular is it kind of fell apart in the mail. Well, I'm not sure if it fell apart in the mail or it just... Well, I pretty much opened the package, and this is kind of how it came out, more or less. And so, that sucks. And the CD kind of just, boop, falls right out. Kind of like one of my Ramones CDs. I can't remember which one. I think it might have been Ass Eaters, where the case is kind of more or less like this one, but it holds my CD, it does the job. It's kind of already fallen apart, but I mean, if I could replace it, I would, but I don't really see too much fuss over it. So, favorite songs off of these, I'd say Her Words Destroy My Planet, Stand Too Close, that's a really good one, and Hysteria, I believe, and I think that's the one song that I think almost everybody knows, because I think it was a meme for a while. I can't remember, but it's like the song is like, "What do you need me?" Or it's, I forgot it's. Well, it was probably one of their more popular songs of this era. And one thing that kind of really confuses me is that Google says that this came out in January, I believe, of 2010. But the little copyright thing that you can't really see on the CD, or you might, because it's kind of small, but it says copyright 2009. But I mean, it was probably because it was recorded in 2009 and they probably just didn't anticipate it being released in January the next year. Or maybe they did, and, you know, this is kind of just like a fuck up or something. I don't know. Either way, really good album. Definitely would recommend. Alright, next CD is another Motion City soundtrack CD, which is Go. It kind of really confuses me, the layout of this, because in the background, if you can kind of see that there's like a G over here, and then I'm pretty sure this is supposed to be the O, so that's like Go. But it just kind of confuses me why they didn't put the G on the front and the O on the back. I don't know, maybe that's just the way they wanted to do it. I mean, it says Go on the little spine right here. And, yeah, it says Go, like, phonetically on the CD. But, either way, this album, I definitely say I like it. It's between I love it and it's okay, so I'm not really sure where to put it other than, you know, I like it. Would definitely, or favorite songs off of this, I'd say Son of a Gun, Coma Kid, that's actually really good. And probably a tie between The Worst Is Yet to Come and Happy Anniversary, I'd say, are probably one of my more favorites off of this album. And, forgot to mention, weird thing about the last CD here, Dinosaur Life. This is actually the only CD that MCS released, or only studio album, to my knowledge, that they released that wasn't on Epitaph. And because this was released on, Columbia Records. So, fun little fact for you there. And last CD that I have for you guys in MCS's final album that was ever made, Panic Stations. And what's kind of cool about the layout of the little booklet kind of thing here is that if you unfold it, there's kind of like a bunch of like cool designs that could have been like the front work of the... It could have been the front work of the actual CD case. Like, you could probably, like, put the case back in like this, or you could probably fold it in a bunch of, like, neat, cool shapes or whatever. But what really sucks is that there's not really a lyric sheet on here, which kind of bums me out, because when I'm listening to a CD, sometimes, especially for the first time, I like to, you know, like, read along, or, like, read along the lyrics that are being sang, like, while I'm listening to the song. Maybe that's just a me thing, maybe I'm just weird, but I don't know. Alright, but yeah, anyway, favorite songs I definitely recommend off of this. Let's see, TKO, Heavy Boots, I almost said Heavenly Boots for a second. It's a Pleasure to Meet You, really like that, and probably Gravity. And then Days Will Run Away, that's definitely a good song too, but it's about 6 or so minutes, so it's a longer song. It's not really a long song to me. Like, for me, like, a long song would probably be at least 8 minutes, but I don't know, for like a pop punk song, that's kind of long, I guess. But anyway, to each their own. So, those are the CDs that I have for you guys this week. If you have any suggestions about any CDs you think I should listen to or buy, make sure you comment them down below. Make sure to like the video, and don't forget to subscribe. And once again, I'm Pat Keebler for WYSADWTA. Bye!